And welcome back, everybody, to our final series of tonight for day 9 of the Gears Pro League for Split 1. It's going to be Fire and Ice. They're playing against Pittsburgh Knights. It's going to be a tough one for F&I. They are still winless. They did play against Hive, the other team that was winless, but Hive obviously got that victory. It was a narrow win, a great series. But either way, F&I still struggles to get their first one. I'm Taylor Reflections, double joined by Guy Blaze. This is going to be an interesting one to me. And obviously one team heavily favored than the other. But for F&I, this is a time you're close to the major. Hey, if you want to provide an upset, this would be it.
And it's a much needed upset for them, okay? Because F&I, if they want to avoid getting relegated, they need some spectacular things to happen for them. They have 2 matches left in our league, you guys, okay? F&I, who do they have to play? They got to play Oxygen and PK. That's excellent. That's F&I's last 2 matches. So if they take down PK, that'll give them that win. They'll tie Hive. They'll both be at 1-7, but also they'll give the Knights another loss in which they need. And from there, I think they'll have to need some help from the Pioneers. So let me double back. One time, all right? Fire and Ice can win this series.
Yeah.
It's possible that they won't get relegated.
So who would get relegated instead? One more time?
PK and Hive.
Ooh. So that's really weird. So things could get interesting. And look, Fire and Ice, let's just pull up the roster. Let's actually talk about Fire and Ice because there's some big ifs tonight that we're going to be talking about, all right? Toxiq, Solar, Rapidz. Okay, those are the core 3. But where's Chavi, right? Chavi's not playing tonight. Jax, the official sub. I agree. But listen here. Jax, last time he played, he actually had better stats, at least head-to-head, than that of Chavi. So Jax might be a decent addition tonight. But last time Jax did play, they were 3-0. Now, granted, that was against Noble.
Chat, Jax or Chavi? Who y'all going for? I just want to ask. Oh, man. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to ask the chat. Jax
I thought you were trying to say, can I extrapolate? But then you said, can I extrap? And I was like, yeah, sure, but you're asking chat. I didn't play sometimes with you. I don't know. So I was just like,
I apologize. You know me, bro. Like, you know,
hey, I love you to death.
I love you more, bro. All right. But you know, that is something that's important to say. Okay. And so that makes this match it hits a little bit differently. Okay. We'll talk about our predictions soon. I will say this team have not won a map with their full roster. Well, not won a map. They won maps, but they have not won a series with their full roster.
It's true.
Things are on the down. Maybe playing with a sub, they can get a little bit looser and have some fun. But it stands. If they win this matchup, Fire and Ice has like a severely high chance of not getting relegated.
It's true. Which is crazy to think about, right? Which it would be really wild to see Hive actually have a better chance of getting relegated after this matchup, even though they beat Fire and Ice. Like I said, things could get crazy. But before we get too carried away, let's talk about Pittsburgh Knights. Takes 2 to tango, and well, the other dancer is going to be PK, Raver, Dezo, Monkyz, and Chaoz. Chaoz has been a wonderful addition, being that IGL. I said it last week, I said it during Emergence Days, and I'll continue to say it now. Pittsburgh Knights have really started to come into their own. They are looking incredible. They are looking scary. Pittsburgh Knights, another team that could very well lead Latin America in the next major, and also just overall look like the stronger team tonight.
Yeah, they definitely can. They definitely could. And this is also, too, if they win this series, they avoid relegation, okay? We got to put that out there as well. So they're playing for just as much. And I think with the Knights knowing that, they're about to give this everything in which they got because they have a difficult matchup against the Pioneers. Now, this squad is comprised of a bunch of talented players. We know how good the 3 with the glasses are on the center of your screen. Like that trio has been together for so long.
Right.
They've stood the test of time. But over these last few years, they brought in different force to help them. They've had summons. Now we got Chaoz. And it was a different one at a certain time. I forgot who it was, but actually they may have had summons throughout the entirety of the 4v4 era. And Chaoz is being the new one to the squad. Now, Chaoz, I've been impressed with his performance as of late a little bit. You know, I feel like he has stepped it up, but there's still a lot more that he has to cover for the time in which he's missed playing in the Pro League. This Pro League has been great for him, but he needs to really go to another level for PK to even have a chance at winning a major. And I want to see that against these Fire and Ice boys.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see it. At least I assume anyways. We talked about, Chaoz quite a bit. One that I really want to hone in on when it comes to our player to watch for the series has to be Raver. He's been absolutely unstoppable and looking incredible. His stats are great, okay? KDA, top 10. He's in 9th place, 2.17. Damage per respawn in 2nd. I don't know who's beating him, but 2nd place, not a bad place to be. Raver overall is a deadly person to be going against in respawns, and it shows every time he's on the battlefield.
Boy, that respawn right there. Damage per respawn, number 2. He is 2nd to Demon. But, that just shows the type of player in which Raver is and how impactful he is in those game modes. So, big shout out to him. And the KDA, he's in the top 10 as well. And I expect these stats from Raver, okay? Especially when it comes down to this night squad. He is the guy in which you have to count on him to be able to have a great performance if you want to be that dominant PK team.
Yeah, Raver's a guy that can do it all. He used to play the 1v spot and he did it quite well. He doesn't necessarily do it as much anymore with Chaoz being around, which has worked out actually quite a bit. Raver being in those team fights is fantastic, able to really complement everybody on his roster. And speaking of team fights, let's take a look at our maps and see if we will be seeing any big team fights. Harbor might be a worrisome thing. Pittsburgh Knights are fantastic on Harbor, and that's map number 3. District control to start off. Fire and Ice has played very well on that map at times. You don't know what they're going to get tonight, though, with them playing with their subs of Jax instead of Chavi. Check out execution, though. That is a huge plus. So at least for the first 3, Fire and Ice gets one that they're great on.
Boy, this is going to be a hard series for him, though. I can already tell. FNI, Bam, Vasgar, PK said we'll get training grounds out of here. We'll let Raver go ham on Harbor. They get the district map in which they absolutely love. Their most comfortable execution in tune. So PK got 3 good maps, but also map number 2, check out. Just because FNI picked it don't mean that Raver ain't gonna be breathing down your neck during the secondary. Doesn't mean that Dezonide isn't gonna be swinging wide with that Lancer getting a sniper.
Right. At the end of the day, Blaze, Pittsburgh Knights, they're going to be scary on every map that's going to be played tonight because Fire and Ice has yet to prove themselves as a team that can win series, right? We can win maps here and there, but can they win series? They've had some good series in the beginning. They truthfully have. I just wonder if, with this being a younger roster, taking all of these L's throughout Pro League has, weighed on them heavily. It's not easy. Just to take a step back, right, and really talk about the players as a whole, it's not easy to be a professional player and to not perform well because you understand there are thousands of people watching you each and every week, whether it be a Pro League day or an Emergence days, they're watching you consistently lose. That weighs heavily on your mind because when you enter Pro League, right, you come out of the last chance qualifiers like Fire and Ice did, Blaze. These guys were so excited. They were pumped up. They had a lot of dreams and aspirations of being the best. But coming into Pro League, the reality is they haven't had a win. And again, if you're not a strong individual, that not hate per se, but that pressure to win, that pressure to come into a series and always be the underdog, sometimes is really hard to overcome. And I think Fire and Ice is struggling as a younger roster to deal with that.
And that's unfortunate for them, right? Because you have to make the best out of your situation. You're not going to be regarded as the best team in the league right now. You haven't earned that. And so you're going to always be the underdog in every single series in which you're a part of. But being an underdog, it has its perks, okay?
Sure.
Sometimes people underestimate you. You get some free maps, some free kills early on in a series. It's going to be time where you're not going to have a lot of pressure on your shoulders. Yes, you're going to get a win, but also people aren't expecting you to win, okay? Don't worry about that. Go out there and play your game. All you have to do is focus on playing the game properly week in and week out, win or lose. And if you do that and the wins start coming through, you're doing it right. But that's what just needs to be focused on, because if you start changing your play style and doing all this other stuff to win and it's not working, it's going to be problematic. But I still want to say that every single map has a flow to it. It has a strategy that's better than the rest. And once you identify that and your team knows it, it just comes down to you running that over and over and figuring out why is it working and why is it not. Make your adjustments and just keep trying to get better. As long as they're doing that, it's okay if they're 0-7. They're trying to get better. This is a hard league to be a part of, okay?
It is very hard.
All right? You can't just hop into our league and expect to come up here on Gears Prime Time okay, on the Xbox Twitch, with Taylor casting you and always perform. Okay, what?
It's hard.
Gonna be hard. It's a hard thing to do. So
and the lights are bright too, man.
Yeah.
The lights are bright, man. You know, again, there's a lot of pressure. It's not easy. And Blaze, you've been a competitor. You've been there, done that. It's not easy, man. So you got to have a level of confidence, you know. But I do like your justification about being the underdog. It does have its perks. It really does.
An underdog, bro, because everybody think they like if you know everybody thinks they can beat you, that should make you feel some type of way, right? If everyone is underestimating you and they say, you know what, that's their layup, easy win, this and that, I always win fight. That should make you feel some type of way. That should have you looking for a 1, a 3, and a 5. Y'all know what that is? Those are scrim times, okay? Looking for a scrim at 1, 3, and 5. Nobody scrim around there. But if you get a beat like that, okay, if you don't want to be the worst, sometimes you're looking for scrims around there just because you want to level up.
Right.
But yeah, man, when people count you out, you just got to lean into it and say, okay, well, let me show you something.
Sure. And it is 1, 3, and 5, just not PM, AM. All right. It's 1, 3, and 5 AM. When do you want to get a scrim, man? Because that's when they're waking up.
It's not AM. Yeah, it is PM. Typically, I would say team scrim, they do like 7, 9, 11, right?
Yeah.
2-hour block. 7, 9, 11. If you're doing a 1, a 3, and a 5, you're really trying to practice that day. You ain't gonna never find those, okay? Nobody's up at 1, 3.
That's what they need.
It's just like, nah.
I don't even know if we need to do. Let's do it. Let's do our prediction segment. I think we made it very apparent who we're going with. Blaze, throw it out there. I'm going Pittsburgh Knights. I think they're the favorites. And again, it's not because I don't believe in Fire and Ice. If you guys remember preseason, I was pumping these guys up, specifically Chavi. Like I was pumped to watch F&I. I said these guys were going to be the dark horse to surprise everybody. I was wrong, but you know I've always had a soft spot for these F&I guys because I've been watching a lot of them compete throughout the Challenger Series. I'm happy they're here, but they just need to do more. Blaze, who are you going with?
You know, hey, I'm going with the Knights as well. And I'm saying what you're saying, that earlier on in the season, I had high hopes for them. I want to see something from them. And I feel like I did see something early on. And that's something was them pushing teams to the 5th map. They had a lot of close control games. Like they were fighting back. And, you know, they showed us that. But at the end of the day, I just think that the Knights is going to be a better squad. I don't think that F&I is going to be able to. It's just going to be hard for them to overcome them, especially without Shavi, right? Especially without Shavi. So, but as we said before, you know, Jax is on the squad. They didn't win with the regular roster, and you know, as they come into this series, if they take map number 1, we can all start popping popcorn and sitting back for a second. Like, hold up, wait a minute.
That's a fact, man. This would be wild. And again, relegation might be avoided if F&I wins this series. Chat, who are you going with? I assume it's going to be Pittsburgh Knights. There it is, yellow across the board. So it's up to you, Fire and Ice, to bring it back and show us what you're made of. I like it, though. You know, Jax, they haven't won with the regular. Well, they haven't won with Jax either because Jax has played at least one series in place of Chavi.
They might as well play with me, okay?
Blaze, I'm telling you, whether it be you or Jacob, brother, I would love to watch you guys play and me cast over you. I would love that. You know how fun that would be? Seriously, that would be great. Yeah, I would enjoy it. It would
be. You know, granted, it's going to be hard for me playing with a Latium squad. I don't know too much Spanish, all right? I'm just going to be saying, you know, one shot allá, one shot aquí, mucho buena, vamos, tranquilo. And that may be all I need to know. Actually, I don't need to say a lot. You know, uno, dos, tres, cuatro. You know,
I think your best thing, man. Don't even go with the comms, bro. Just go out there and slay. Get loose, like you like to say, man. All right, you're the X factor. Get out there, get loose, and just slay.
And just give good vibes, right? Anytime my teammates get a kill, mucho buena, mucho buena,
mucho buena.
Mucho buena. Just go to the next one. All right. Yeah, we'd be okay.
All the times you've been in Mexico, that's all you know in Spanish, Blaze?
Well, the thing is that everybody in Mexico knows a lot of English. And so
that's true.
Yeah, they know a good amount of English. So they always talk to me in English. But even when I don't know Spanish, even with me just knowing English, I can still communicate with somebody not knowing that language decently enough.
Fair enough. I mean, I want to see it, but fair enough. I get it. I do get it.
Only the Vibe Master can do that.
I do get it. When I was deployed to Africa, that is a real thing. And hey, at the end of the day, we always find a way to communicate, right? That's kind of the reality of it. Here we are, map number 1, Fire and Ice, Pittsburgh Knights District is where we are starting, in a 3v3 fight underway. Honestly, I gotta respect. Well, I gotta at least say I was really surprised Pittsburgh Knights didn't push up as aggressively. I don't know if they're giving respect to Fire and Ice or expecting F&I to push up first. They win the fight. Well, maybe Chaoz actually. Fire and Ice wins that. So I gotta ask you, Pittsburgh Knights not flying out the gate and going straight into F&I, is that a matter of respect or just filling them out?
You know, it's uncertainty. You don't know what they're going to bring at you, right? You know, so you take a 50-50 on you if you want to be aggressive or if you want to be a little bit passive off the start. I still think if Fire Knights had their full roster, PK would have played it the same way. They just kind of took their time once to see what their opponent was going to do. Didn't work out for them. They get the drop, pick up. Oh, but the drop's on the ground. It will be acquired by Fire and Ice, but it needs to go in this juice right now. But it's double. Can he get it? Oh, he's just going to rotate out. Okay, good move. He saves it.
And Fire and Ice, flawless start. Toxiq getting out, like you mentioned, with the drop shot is going to be fantastic. And you've got to start thinking about next, especially for Pittsburgh Knights. And that's exactly what they're going to do. So this is going to be pretty telling. You know, that first fight is not as impactful, right? Where did that go, man? Talk about sending a home run that doesn't connect. Ended up being a foul ball. Tough drop shot. But, you know, that first point is that first hill right on any map is not as impactful as what is the next hill. And the reason why is because now you get to see a distinct setup and you get to see a distinct effort to go for a break. And it looks like Pittsburgh Knights are holding their ground. Now, Fire and Ice, though, still have a chance, and not anymore. Monkyz turns around and absolutely annihilates Solar. Mucho buena.
Okay, good job, Monkyz. Now, as Chaoz and Co, he's going to get this revive. Quick turnaround, and there's the chunk. PK will continue to hold on his heel, and they're probably going to start getting some of their first points of this map. But with them finally on the board, we'll see how these fights start going in their favor.
We'll definitely find out. Pittsburgh Knights looking strong here, but a big presence from F&I on the top end of things. They're going to be able to push down those stairs and challenge in. It's going to put pressure onto Chaoz and Co. Chaoz, whoa! Look at all those downs coming out from Chaoz. Even still, though, the heroics will end there because Rapidz will clean up Dezo, and F&I will have the hill for themselves. Still a lot of points to be earned, so Fire and Ice making it happen.
Oh boy, F&I. They're looking good off the start of this game. And chat, we preach time and time again, what do you do when you are able to build a lead off a tough opponent early on? Well, use that lead to rotate early, set up for next play for these power weapons. That's an aggressive play. The flank comes through. Power weapon player dead, but Solar's, he gets revived quickly. That's a double down. Fire and Ice, they're feeling good. Drop shots out of play, Taylor. They just need to get set up at the spawn.
Get set up, exactly that. F&I, man, looking great off the start. At first, I thought it was Pittsburgh Knights not going head first because, you know, they were a bit hesitant, maybe respecting F&I. And, hey, that might have been correct, or, you know, the uncertainties, regardless what it was. F&I, they're not playing around. That is a big down, though, taking out Rapidz. It's going to open up the door to get in bandstand, get the fresh shock, which they're not going to get. Fair enough. They're just wanting to get onto that top hill. Drop shot not going to come into effect. They want to get on this hill as soon as possible. 71-23 is something Pittsburgh Knights want to start getting underway.
Yeah, as soon as possible. But even with that early rotation from F&I, at a certain point, you have to fight. Now, granted, they did try to fight there towards info. They lost a player. They did a good job keeping these two alive towards the backside of the spawn. But now, they have 3 players over here. They got 1 across map. If they know that player 6 is out of position, they'll have a 3v3, and they just assessed it. They're rushing in quick. Multiple downs. The cleanup is there. Fire and Ice, they chose the right opportune time to strike there, Taylor, and to pay dividends for them. Well, they're starting to cash out as they're going to be breaking down 100-point markers soon. It's going to be the Knights who have to just set up down low at bandstand for now. They shouldn't play for this hill again.
All right, Pittsburgh Knights, once again, trying to go for the break. They're a bit spread out, though. It's not going to happen. So I think PK is looking to catch F&I off of the rotation, maybe take them down one by one if they possibly can. This next hill is where Pittsburgh Knights are wanting to secure as many points as possible. Raver, though, has got a tall task ahead of him. Great damage, forcing Rapidz and Solar back. One down will come into play. There's the second one. Surely doesn't... Well, no, F&I is going to go ahead and whoop back in. They know they got the 3v2, and that's putting Chaoz on the ground, and he's finished off. And F&I... Once once again looking strong. The Wolfpack is looking great, but you got to consider Monkyz. And Dezo also holding his ground. Great shot onto Rapidz. Also took down Toxiq earlier, and Solar fell just shortly after. And all that momentum F&I just had, absolutely gone.
It was gone. You know, I wanted to, and I'm still going to give him his props. And I just wanted to give Jax some love for his positioning there on that team fight. He was able to help, you know, acquire the 3, but, you know, they didn't win it in the end. Back to the present moment. It's going to be PK set up at this hill. They also got a flank there towards the middle. That flank is Raver, and he is being absolutely annoying with his Lancer here towards the mid-map. And that should be able to lock in a team wipe. And PK, they're going to lock in the spawns, the bridge spawns, the cog spawns, so they can move on over here towards Pergola. Dezonide in a secret man position. Well, it's no secret anymore, and he doesn't want it to be a secret. As he finds 2, marks the 3rd, and the Lions, they're on the hunt.
Pittsburgh Knights starting to hit their stride, and things might get a bit worrisome for Fire and Ice. I think the big thing to take note of, guys, is that last hill. Reason why is normally when District, let's say it does go the distance, if Fire and Ice keeps it competitive, and you know, Pittsburgh Knights also in line. If it comes down to this final hill, with the way Pittsburgh Knights have controlled this hill, no matter how competitive it is, Fire and Ice most likely going to take a loss just because of PK's success here. So that is one thing to kind of take note of and keep in the back of your mind as this map will continue on. Pittsburgh Knights, though, looking to take their first lead in this map, and that's a good shot to block the lane up front.
Ooh, but that player going down made things that much more complicated. Chaoz should be getting flanked. He knows it. Couldn't turn around in the fight in time. He also wasn't able to clean up those kills after the shock blocked those players from Fire and Ice being able to break into Pergola. Monkyz gets 1. Stays alive as long as he can, but that's all he can do. Great offense from Fire and Ice. That's all I got to say on that one. You know, I thought PK was going to have a better defensive setup, but they just could not get the kills. And F&I, they rotated towards the middle, and they found an opening.
Well, you said it best at the beginning, right? With Jax playing in place of Chavi, despite Jax being the official sub, guys, make no mistake, I'm sure he knows exactly what he needs to do, what his role is, what the setups are. That's what a good sub does, right? They replace a player and they know exactly what they need to do. You also mentioned, and wisely so, Blaze, that F&I playing with Jax might mean they get a little bit looser. So it makes sense their offense has been fantastic. That's what they're basing their play style on, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. I don't like the team kill on Toxiq, but I also don't know the situation. Maybe Toxiq was already bleeding out, and taking him out made sense in that moment. But for Fire and Ice, this is a great lead. I was not expecting this at all.
Yeah, I wasn't either. You know, granted, they got the lead by 74. You know, let's not forget we've seen series like this most of the night where teams had some leads, but when it gets closer towards 200s, we start seeing a few comebacks. Monkyz finds a double down at the bandstand. Next hill's rotated towards Hotel. PK, they have plenty of players in this area. Well, 1 short. Solar. Ooh, couldn't get it. That little 1v2. Monkyz came in late to help out.
All right, Dezo laying down the cover fire if he can. His teammates are going to be coming up from up top, and Jax has already dropped off, and Rapidz can't do anything about it. He falls. Great job from Pittsburgh Knights. 3 members out of the way, and they'll start closing out the deficit. Monkyz has to know Solar is there. That's the only reason why he's making this movement. And yeah, Solar will finally be spotted, but still picks up Monkyz despite the cat being out of the bag. Raver now in a big spot to hold his ground. He can't, and F&I's retaking potential once again, rearing its head forward. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Dezo looking to pull off some big plays, but I have more faith in Fire and Ice in this moment than I do Pittsburgh Knights.
You know, as you should. You know, F&I, they wolfpack down low. They got the kills. They got their revives. That's a big down from Raver, but he couldn't stay up. Jax will get res for F&I. The Hotel hill is under their control. It's still 2 members down from PK. I want to see F&I get some height control, right? Get up here, get into M4 juice, make this fight that much more difficult for the Knights. But as I'm saying that, I'm realizing it. Taylor, it's only 12 seconds in this hill. Both these squads should be playing for cinema.
Yeah, I got to be playing for cinema. We're back at the start where F&I ended up taking a surprising lead, about 50-1 or something like that. But either way, pretty dominant. Toxiq Trying to rotate his way around, take this lower side if he can. He's just trying to space himself out and obviously get his teammates back into play. Solar goes and respawns directly into Lancer Fire. Monkyz, though, he's going to go ahead and get out of the way as quickly and as fast as he possibly can. Toxiq, the guy to watch out for with the drop shot. Good connection here is going to make it for an easy break. That's 2 out of the way, and there it is. F&I starting, or at least leaving off where they started, right, with a successful first hill and now a successful first hill off the second rotation.
This is scary because of the cross from Chaoz, but somebody got a Lancer over Chaoz's head. They're not even allowing him to shoot. So great aggression from Fire and Ice to stagger that player on his death, and it's actually Jax versus Chaoz here in these anchor positions, but Chaoz calls the flank. Player 5 actually is going to choose a different route. Jax picks up on Raver, but I will say I think Chaoz won his fight for the player to try to flank him. Ultimately, PK will come out on top, but it's really scary for him. Oh!
Dang, Solar is not playing around.
No, okay, he got two.
He's going for the third. He's going to get this.
Oh!
He's going to get it. Yeah, there it is. Yo, like, F&I.
No mames.
No mames is the right thing to say, man, because at this point, Pittsburgh Knights are looking like no mames, man. Fire and Ice are on fire. What is going on? I don't know anything about Gears at this point.
They ain't got nothing to lose. The underdog has power. They just don't know it. Whew. You ain't got to be the favorite to win. You just need to, in your heart, make the favorite to win lose, because you know it's going to be the greatest storyline ever. Ain't nobody expected it, you know?
Watch this. Get out of my face. Jax, he'll get the smoke, but not now. Now, this is the thing, though. For
That's a great shock.
For Fire and Ice, they're in a spot where they're like, all right, we're winning. They just need to keep this energy up. I don't care how close they get to victory. I'm not going to get too carried away until they win. You know what I'm saying? Because Pittsburgh Knights can always come back, and I've seen F&I lose being so close to victory.
That cross from down low.
Oh, Jax hitting every shot. Yo, okay.
Rapids.
Never mind. It's over.
Mucho buena, Rapidz. Fire and Ice came to play.
Eyes on target.
All I gotta say is if the Knights lose this series, there's only one map. We ain't even gonna talk about it, but just, you know, we'll
it's one map, brother, in the way of 300 to 165.
Bro.
Like that, yo, bro, that is a win. That is a win. That is a W.
We got a game.
We are here to celebrate the size of this W, bro. Fire and Ice. Look at this guy. Solar was just tearing him up. 19 kills, 10 assists. 17k damage done, and man, you know, it's good to see. So, you know, as I mentioned before, I got a lot of love for F&I Blaze because I watched tons of players on this roster compete in challengers. Solar was a guy that was always grinding, was always trying hard, was always trying to at least be on a certain roster that had some sort of success in Challenger Series. And now he's here in Pro League. That was one of the best performances I've seen him give yet. Great job.
Ooh, that was a fantastic performance out of Solar right there. And he really turned up for his team. Those are numbers that we see consistently out of him, time and time again. I would say that him and Rapidz both, I've always seen that with this team. And, you know, with them coming out on this victory, they go into checkout execution, a map in which they pick. The fact that it's execution, they're going to go in there with a lot of confidence. The Knights, they started this one off slow, Taylor. They were trying to play from behind. They felt like they can do it, but Fire and Ice wanted it just a bit more. And if the Knights lose the series, it's going to be them having to win up against the Pioneers if they want to avoid relegation.
I mean, that's a tall task. You know, that's a really tall task. We have seen Fire and Ice beat Pioneers. Now, granted, that was E-Days, different stories. Aisha wasn't playing. I covered that earlier. But, like, if Pittsburgh Knights lose this series, will they beat Pioneers? I want to be honest with you, probably not. Like, this is going to be a pretty eye-opening series. And I'm glad that you did the math and kind of set up that storyline, Blaze, because I wasn't tracking that at all. If Pittsburgh Knights get relegated, that would be a huge shock to me.
That's a huge shock for everybody, if you ask me. That's something that we was not expecting. And so, but we're not there yet. We still have to go up into checkout execution. But the thing is that Fire and Ice, they did the hard part, and that was just getting map number 1, but it was a dominating fashion of 165, 300 to 165. And I know, Taylor, for you you know, in your head, you're like, if they win this series without Xavi, you know, you wouldn't have expected that based off how much you've gassed them up over this time.
I gassed him up. I gassed Xavi. I said Xavi's going to be the next Krabbies. Xavi's going to be the next Dyslexic. Like that's now. Let me explain. That's what performance I saw out of him during the LCQ,
and it was valid.
And it was valid. It was valid then, but Xavi really hasn't pulled up since then. But I mean, that's just the competition he's going against. Now, the real question is, you know, if F&I wins this series, does Jax become the new Xavi?
Yeah.
Do they switch play? Now, see, I don't know. Now we're getting into some new rules, okay? But I mean, but like you said, But you know, hey, Blake's bringing out the Spanish flavor. I'm liking it, man. Ozuna coming full front. But you know, at this point in time, we're heading into checkout. This is F&I's best map, like that they play on, and they just won a map that I didn't expect them to win. So now they're going into a map that I think they're going to be favored in. Things get weird now going into Harbor. Now that's where Pittsburgh Knights have to be the favorite. Their Fire Knights has always struggled in Escalation, no matter what map that they're playing on. But if F&I can take a 2-0 lead here, Game 5 could become a pretty real reality.
It could be. Also, too, as well, like if the Pittsburgh Knights go down 0-2 in a series, I'm not counting them out, but I'm curious to see what type of version of the Knights we'll see, because this is like a grand finals type of stage, only because you don't want to go play through relegation. So if you're down 0-2, we will see the best version of this Pittsburgh Knights that we've ever seen to avoid that. And I'm curious of what that will be.
I think we're going to see it now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we're going to see it here on checkout. Yeah, because like you got to be angry after that. Look, it's not just fire and ice. It's the fact is any team that hasn't won a single series or, you know, ever, like in Pro League, there is not a team that says, I want to be that first loss. Like I want to be their first win. Like no one says that.
Nobody wants that.
No one wants that. And Pittsburgh Knights for sure don't want that. And again, that's not a dig at F&I. That's just the reality for any team. It could have been Hive, right? It could have been, no one wants to lose to Hive. But this is going to be telling. But I think we see the best version of Pittsburgh Knights right here and right now. And if we don't, raise the red flags.
Oh boy, raise the red flags indeed. I also know that if anyone bet channel points on Fire and Ice,
about the rich.
Talk about the return on that.
About to be rich, and I
talk about the return.
I was asked who do I go for, F&I or PK? I said you go PK all the way.
Nobody
here.
needed to ask you.
What? Why you got
say it like that, Taylor?
But you said it like that.
I did, and I'm sorry. I just meant to say that it should have been an easy answer. I didn't need your validation.
Hey, man. All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go to what I think I'm good at casting. That's gonna be Pittsburgh Knights taking round 1, and they did it in convincing fashion. Well, you know, not really convincing. It did come down to a 2v2. There were some big trades, and Dezo definitely carrying his weight there. 2 kills to his name. I only see 3 kills actually across the board for Pittsburgh Knights, unless I'm out of my mind. Maybe I'm not good at casting. I'm going crazy now because who got the third one?
Well, somebody could have timed himself out.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm all right. Let's get into round 2,
it was
please.
That or it was a nade kill that came through, but in the end, you know, here we go towards wide. Lots of smokes coming out for F&I, but PK, they're committing as they should. They don't want to give up this positioning. Them backing up will be a death sentence, and they know that, and they commit to the fight. 3v1. They'll lock it in.
I heard you holding your breath though right there when Jax hit that first shot.
That was a good spread. That was a good spread. Yeah, he gets a second. He has a right hand on that guy behind him. It's definitely doable.
Absolutely. Well, there it is. Actually, Jack's leading the team. Look at that. 2 kills to his name. He has first blood. He got that first blood from the last round, obviously, because that was a solid round from Pittsburgh Knights in round 2. Checkout is going to be, or right over that sniper's where the overtime hill is going to be. If we get to that point, I don't expect it. You do notice it's a 4v4 fight. Now, one thing about Fire and Ice Blaze is they have literally never tried, or they only did it once, I think like for 2 or 3 rounds, to send a player for nades. But ever since then, they've wanted that 4v4 fight here on Checkout. Pittsburgh Knights first blood once again. F&I on the back pedal, and Dezo holding his ground here on the sniper fight. Well done.
Yeah, good job to them. You know, when it comes down to this map, I'm seeing a lot of pressure coming out of Dezonide. I also saw him pull out the cold train too, so he ain't playing around right now, okay? Very few players come out with cold in the map. You know, Dezonide is a Carmine player through and through, okay? Through and through, he is Carmine. But the fact that he brought out Augustus, he feels some type of way. Okay. And we're seeing it out wide.
We'll see the best of him.
He needed to relax a little bit, so he came off Carmine. I'm telling you, man, it's the mental game in Gears.
I believe it. No, as much as I've heard you guys talk about it. Look at this full send for Pittsburgh Knights. Full send down low. And it looked, shoot me for F and not. Yo!
Great fight.
That was him rated. 18 seconds. Great fight for who? For Pittsburgh Knights, man. F and I.
Yeah, it was a great fight it was just a great fight overall. Like, I would say that even though F and I, they didn't win this, I appreciate all 4 players committing.
Right. Committing, yeah.
That's it, right?
I do,
Granted,
I agree
maybe one should have anchored back in the Lancer because someone needs to stop Dezonide. Like, someone needs to Lancer him. And typically, that's the guy that's matched up on his spawn. But the guy who's matched up on his spawn is trying to run wide. Someone needs to put a... Yeah, look at him, bro. What? Don't do it. Stop. Okay.
Okay, he's down. He's out. He's gone. Fire nice. That's a round win. Now, that's a turning point. Fire and Ice now has the momentum.
Well, it's not fully in there. It's about to say,
but
it ain't fully
but
in
at least
favor,
they're looking better than they were before. It was a great round. It was a great round.
But now they don't have much to work with anymore. So I'm going to say the same thing, even going back into this next round, that whoever's matched up against Dezonide just needs to put a Lancer over his head and force it to be a 2v2 fight or a 3v3 fight on the inside. And our Ribs is letting me know that Blaze is toxic, and I feel you, dog, okay? You know, as we're going to watch him go out wide, the smoke's in the back. He actually plays a little bit closer. This is where I want to see Lancer fire from him, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Lancer fire right there. It's a different story on this fight, but instead he almost goes down.
Oh, you got to hit those.
Dezonide is trying to make some plays in the middle. Yeah, but he's going to get cleaned up. And it's a 1v2 for the round.
But it's Monkyz, though. Doesn't matter if it's Monkyz. Toxiq, the guy to watch. Ribs let us know at the beginning, and Toxiq was that guy. I do agree with you, though. You know, for F and I, maybe the round goes a bit smoother if we see Toxiq with the Lancer fire. He did try to snub out, but I mean, still, it was just that
it was too late, bro.
It was too late. It was too late.
When you play that position, your ultimate goal is as fast as you can make somebody full red, and you need your Lancer for that. If the guy back lane rushes you full red Dezo, he back up. If not, you shoot somebody inside the secondary and try to make a play for your teammate Solar on the inside. But yeah, he can't have a shotgun out for that long, not putting out damage, because damage is currency around here.
4v4, this is probably the biggest, I call it a stalemate. It's not really, but it's sort of, you know, the biggest stalemate, or at least longest round I'm assuming we're going to have yet. Normally at this point, I'm looking at body pieces literally all over the map, all over the checkout stands.
Oh, Monkyz in a bad spot. He's getting tagged up. Yeah, that back roll is scary. You don't want that. But that's the play. Toxiq with a little blind fire over the top like he's playing Gears 1. The revive. Oh, the cleanup to the revive to the point blank. I love the thought process. Toxiq cleans house. F and I. They get another one on the board.
Hey, didn't I not say the momentum had shifted after round 5, Blaze?
You did say that. I give you that one.
I took it back,
that was a vibe master call,
I took it back, but I mean,
it was a vibe master call. I'm gonna give you credit.
I was totally joking, but it's true. I mean, hey, I shouldn't have took it back because it's happening. Electronics, where overtime is going to be. Toxiq is that guy. I'm really impressed with Toxic's ability to hold his ground. He's making confident plays. That's the big thing. I'm down to watch him again. Absolutely, I think we have to.
Yeah, he is the anchor for this team. Like, he needs to make a good play for them to win. Like, he smoked out wide. He got bamboozled. The snipes picked up.
Still not over with it. Yeah.
He needs some help. Here's the pressure on the inside. 3 players hurt. 3 players cleaned up.
I love that.
The 4th is done.
I love that.
4-4.
Look, Toxiq knows, snipers picked up, no worries. F&I understands if PK gets out of that spot, they have a huge advantage. So what does F&I do? They cover the gap quickly. They immediately move forward. They wolf pack through checkout stands, and they are just lighting those Pittsburgh Knights members up. They're doing it, I mean, just honestly firing as quickly as they possibly can. They understand, again, if Pittsburgh Knights get out of there, F&I's in trouble. They didn't allow that to happen.
So what Toxiq is missing is an early nade from his position in the back. He got smoked out. He played it well, but now with this intel, you gotta say no one's wide. Stay alive. Solars goes down. Ooh, big shot. Nades on the ground. Actually, they may be backpacked. We'll find out soon.
All right. First shot missed, no worries though. Still the man advantage. Gotta hit those though for sure. You gotta hit those. Jax creating the distance. I like it. Cool, calm, and collected. Raver now 1v3. No shot. He did get one down, but no way. That's five in a row.
That's 5, bro. Cinco. Okay.
Is it Cinco? Uno, dos, tres,
Cinco.
cuatro. That's Cinco, man.
You're like me, right? I got to count up into the number.
I'm using my fingers and everything too. Make no mistake about it. I'm like, I got to use. You want me to count the 5? I got to use my fingers. I got 5
I counted
fingers
in my head. Chat didn't see it, but I was like, yeah.
I can't believe this. Fire and Ice, my lord. Here we go. Potential final round. Fire and Ice, an opportunity to take a 2-0 lead. Jax leading the charge. He gets on top of the platform. Raver though backs him off.
Now as he backs up, Rapidz goes down. Raver backs up. He has the incendiaries, but PK's kind of frantic. They don't understand the play just yet, but they find one. They take a sigh of relief. Now they just need to rotate out wide. If Monkyz goes down, that could be problematic. Jax goes down. Oh, PK, they're in a great spot to get this one all tied up to go into the round 11, but it's not over yet. No sniper picked up. Rapidz goes wide, but he can't get revived. Oh boy, it's coming down to the wire, chat.
It's second round 11 tonight on Checkout. We didn't have a chance to watch the first one. That was between Oxygen and Pioneers earlier. Pioneers actually took an L there. And, well, Pittsburgh Knights, I mean, here it is. This is the moment to make it happen. Now, one might question, is Fire Knights going to feel confident to make the first move here? Being the younger team, Pittsburgh Knights with the veteranship might make the first move, and that's true.
Well,
but I've seen Fire and Ice make the first move against Pioneers in the past. During that E-Days, they ended up winning. So I think Fire and Ice is actually going to be the aggressors. And in fact, Pittsburgh Knights for the first time are going on a flank.
Oh my God. But what can Dezo do? He's taking his time.
No idea that he's there. No idea he's there.
The cleanup. They got bamboozled. No kills on the front.
Yo.
Oh my. 3v4. Dezo with the God flank wins them the round and wins them the map. We're all tied up 1-1, and man, what a last round in which it was. Even with Fire Knights having those incendiary grenades on the platform, they couldn't make quick enough use for them before the man himself, Dezonide, rocking Augustus Code, was on that flank to lock it in. Well, folks, it's an exciting series, one we did not expect. 1-1. Don't go anywhere. We're heading into the escalation. Let's see who comes out on top.
Welcome to an exciting series that I didn't think would be this close, but it really is. Fire and Ice pushing Pittsburgh Knights to the absolute limits. Fire and Ice takes map 1, district 300-165. Checkout goes the distance, round 11, and that was off the back of Fire and Ice winning 5 straight rounds in a row after Pittsburgh Knights won 4 in a row. I gotta say it, man. I'm pumped up. This is a great series.
Yeah, I'm pumped up indeed, man. Just seeing how F&I was able to win 5 rounds in a row was fascinating to me, just because they were down 4-0. In the fashion in which PK did that, like 3 players hadn't died from the end. So Fire Knight showed us that they are resilient. They got composure. Even though they didn't win this map, they are definitely in this series. Now, PK, they got to wipe the sweat off their foreheads, wipe their palms on their pants, on their shorts, and really get this one locked in, because they survived a crucial situation, Taylor. Just imagine them being 2 and 1 map from possibly getting relegated.
Yeah, like that's really crazy to think of, especially in regards to Pittsburgh Knights. I think Dezo's play is about to come up. I love that flank from him. You know, and to Fire and Ice credit, I knew they were going to be the first ones to make a move, and they did. They end up getting incense early on. They took that early advantage. But Dezo, so sneaky, the first time any player had went onto the flank or even went past nades, and it ended up being around 11. Fire and Ice just quite simply was not ready for it at all. And comes to show you sometimes in the thick of the fight with the smokes and everything out, it's hard to count numbers. They had no idea Dezo was there.
That part, it was hard to count numbers. I want to say it was 2 smokes on the platform. You saw incendiary grenades get picked up right away. Those players was on the plat for a second. They got down, they tucked in undercover so they can get their health back. Then they kind of started to make their move. But Dezonide the entire time was like, I'm just gonna walk this flank.
He walked it too.
And that's like, he walked the flank. He says, I don't want nobody to hear me roadie running, sliding into cover, because you do get audio cues from that. Right. So he did the bot walk until he got into position, and he chose the perfect time to strike. Also, his teammates did a great job staying alive and not being too aggressive, knowing what he was doing.
Right. And give Pittsburgh Knights credit for that. Still, comes to show you how good Fire and Ice can really be, Blaze. And that's what makes me excited about them, is maybe not a dark horse, I wouldn't call them that, but a team that could definitely get some upsets here and there without question, right? Fire and Ice impressing me tonight. Now, this is going to be their biggest challenge. We knew that when we saw honestly, we know that anytime we see Fire and Ice play Escalation, it's just not their strong suit, guys. And it's going to be made extra difficult here on Harbor, where Pittsburgh Knights are such a great team. Raver, a man that makes magic happen here. But, for Fire and Ice, they have been doing an excellent job pushing PK to the brink in the team fights. And with Harbor, maybe, just maybe, Fire and Ice can capitalize off of those team fights, especially on the winch fight. So maybe there is a chance Fire and Ice can surprise us here like they have in the previous maps.
Yeah, maybe. F and I, do it. Because I'm putting a lot in Raver here on this map, because this is his excuse me, this is his spot. And if he went down in the Gears of War Hall of Fame, his best map may be on this one somewhere. He may have a few harbors in his top 5 to showcase.
Well, Fire and Ice, though, like I said, winning the team fight. They've been doing it consistently all night long, and they're going to try and break out to at least what they think is going to be a domination, but they're actually going to go in and back off. And the reason why they're derailed, you saw Solar and Rapidz inching closer towards A. That's the standard play to make, but player 8 Chaoz ended up slipping through and getting on the home hill of F and I. So that's going to extend this round even longer. Chaoz will eventually die, but the reality is Pittsburgh Knights are happy that they're at least able to give another fight.
All right, Jax cleans up the home hill. B hill is going to be under siege slightly. It's not really under siege, but it's being spied by a Monkyz. Quick revive, stay alive. PK know they can't commit to just one little down like that with no one in position to help Monkyz even anymore. Raver wouldn't be able to get across from that angle. So you slow it down. PK, I think they split up into a 2-2. They have to, you just got to find a 2v1 somewhere and chase them down. And I think they've kind of found that. They need a little bit of help trying to put pressure on Jax.
Fire and Ice is all over the map, man. And Monkyz, this is a big fight for him. He was the only player in a 1v2 from his team and brings it to a 1v1, and Monkyz will take him down, drop him, and that's going to be 4 out of the way. And Pittsburgh Knights go on the cusp of potentially losing this map now into In Control. They already had the point lead as it was, but now they're going in and trying to commit for the domination. Fire and Ice are going to have to fight through a wall of Pittsburgh Knights members. Jax will barely get the touch, but the domination will ring through in the end. Excellent recovery and a great job from Monkyz to kind of set the precedence in that 1v2. You may have the numbers advantage, but it's not going to be easy to take them down.
Yeah, it might be easy. It might not be easy. So off to start there, PK. Hey, great first round for them. I expect nothing less for them on this map, but we'll see how Fire Knights makes the adjustments. That's really what I want to see from them. How are they going to switch it up to deal with Raver, to deal with Dezonide? Because when the both of them play between Winch and Stern, that's just a very difficult spot to be in. So as we kick off this round, so far so good. I want to give a lot of love to everybody in the chat today. I haven't really talked too much to you guys, but y'all are awesome, all right? My hair is looking like Nezuko's.
That's what you take away? Hey, man, I just want to say, by the way, chat, you guys are awesome, and Blaze said it best. It's always a great time getting to spend, whether it be a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Thursday, right, with these guys, or guys and girls, excuse me, or whatever, but, always fun to be out here, whether it be on Xbox, UMG Gaming. Gears is a beautiful thing, truly is. But Jax, let's see what he can. Actually, great cross from Rapidz. He breaks through. Domination looking to. Oh my lord, who hit that shot? Solars? Dezo did not see that coming. That ended like the Sopranos ended. You're alive 1 second, and before you know it, you're dead. 1-1. We're tied up.
Yeah. Okay, that was the response that we needed from F9, right? Like, the first round was drawn out a little bit. It was back and forth fights, but you come into this one. It's just a quick finish and a victory. Solar's leading the feed 5-1, and he needs to have a great game. I feel like for F9 to come out victorious, if he plays lackluster, of course he has teammates that can kind of pick it up around him. But he's one of those players that we consistently expect him to get a kill or two per round.
Long shot going to be placed. I like that. Kind of going back to when Harbor was added back into the rotation in Escalation for Gears 5. We ended up seeing, Fire and Ice was a team. The same roster actually we see now playing as Noble. Love to place the long shot here. The strategy usually is to go for the quick pick as quickly as you can. If you get dropped, that's fine. You usually have a teammate to get the pickup. But I like Solar instantly capitalizing and taking them down. In my opinion, that's a huge misplay from Pittsburgh Knights. You cannot allow a player to go in as hard as Solar did and take you down and get rid of your sniper player. Pittsburgh Knights will recover. They end up knocking out 3 members from F&I, but again, that is a misplay, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a misplay for them. Now, PK, currently with the 2 heals in which they have, Taylor, they're in an okay spot. They don't have Stern and Witch control, but in the first half, you don't necessarily need it. You just need some good defense down low at B. Now, I will say, I don't know how much I appreciate, well, they drop back to swap weapons, but my God, can somebody get Raver some help soon? Because he's about to get played up on in a bit.
Much as we hyped him up, does he even need help? Hey, look, Raver might be all right. Oh, there's the help, though. And he had a pixel. He had a pixel to connect on. That was a nasty shot.
Nah, he did. And you know what? He's looking at Toxiq.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
That's a dirty angle, man.
Yeah, Toxiq knows he's not going to challenge that again. You see how he repositioned? He was like, okay, I respect you.
You have to.
I'm going to just get out of this. Little quick shot from Dezo, but he has a good angle.
Great angle. This is once again.
One body shot is all his team needs.
Can't get it, though. Either way, Chaoz looks like he's got it handled, maybe. Team
one
pickups
body shot is all his team needs.
Man, Dezo missed everything after that one nice shot that he had. That's unfortunate. It really is. That's going to give an opportunity for Fire and Ice to get the break and the capture onto B. And also puts Dezo in a tough spot. And I believe the sniper's going to be coming back into play relatively soon. So for Fire and Ice, they've got positioning. They might be able to just swoop it up. And yeah, sniper's on the ground and it looks like Solar wants it.
Yeah, he does. He is hovering over it. They got the call out that 3 players of PK are trapped back towards their spawn. F&I is doing a great job not pressing forward because PK will come to them. They can't stay here for long and be victorious. So wait for your opportunity, and Fire and Ice, they had great timing on that.
All right,
scoreline, they let player
obviously
7 get behind. At least they called it out.
Yeah, well, Fire and Ice still in a good spot, even if they don't have the win condition. Solar, he's a big shot. Big shot. You got to be confident here now.
Yeah, you have to push that.
You have to, and he does it. And Monkyz is a guy you can't allow.
Oh, no!
And you know what? Shame on Solar for that one.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, sweep him away, man.
You have to push Monkyz.
You have to.
Him.
You can't get a body shot like that and not push. Like, that's ridiculous.
Oh no, that's no way. They had such good control over that round, Taylor.
They did. You Look, have to put. There's no reason why he doesn't put. And with Jax behind him, and you still don't push that. Monkyz isn't going to allow you to get away with a mistake like that. It clearly picks up both of them. If you get a sniper shot like that with the body, you go for the push. Even if you drop, you know your teammate's behind you. You got to have faith that Jax picks up that kill. So there's no excuse there. And honestly, with the way F&I's been playing tonight, I'm really surprised Solar didn't push that.
Yeah,
they've been so aggressive.
I am as well, but, at the end of the day, sometimes, King Kong will strike the fear into his victims. And also, too, like in hindsight, looking at the replay, I still think PK wins that round. So
no, they do. They get the other hills, but still, that play itself, like...
That's true. Yep.
Is what it is, though. New round, new F&I. Still close, 2-1. Fire and Ice trying to tie up this first half if they possibly can. Sniper battle well underway. Monkyz going to go ahead and dip out for the time being. Chaoz, though, isn't going to back down. Great shots on the Rapidz, great shots on the Toxiq, not making them feel comfortable whatsoever. And Solar is going to die off, so that should open up at least a pick on the sniper to get out of there. Meanwhile, up top, Jax is going to back off Raver. Super scrappy fight. No one has been able to get the neutral. No one's been able to get the sniper. That's how evenly based these guys are.
It truly is, man. And you know what? I think it's fitting that PK is having to really fight tooth and nail to stay into the league because, after the last 2 seasons, that spot is up for relegation, bro. Getting closer and closer. Now, this round here is a great one for PK. Oh, yeah, they close it out. So good job, good rebuttal for him. But yeah, man, it's been it's just been shaky to watch PK at times,
It has been. It has been. And I must say, I'm in a way disappointed because I like the hype of Pittsburgh Knights, not because of their namesake or whatever, but I genuinely felt they were getting better. And, and I still think they have been getting better. And I still think they're a great team. It kind of comes down to it like, when you look at Rebel play against Pioneers, Rebel's a great team. They're usually, very rarely are they playing poorly. Even when they were beat by 3-0 to United, United's just been playing lights out, but Rebel still beat Pioneers. The thing about Gears, and you always say it, and we always say it, any team can beat any team on any given day. So I think Pittsburgh Knights still playing well, but Fire and Ice is really bringing the fuego. They're serious about avoiding relegation. They're serious. They know the situation as it is. These guys want to win.
And, at the top level, too, like, I feel like when it comes down to some of our professional squads, depending on who their matchup is, it kind of depends on which strats they start off with. Because it's like, all right, let's just go in here with our base strategy. It should be enough, right? It should be. Fire and Ice said it won't be, okay? Just because we ain't got to win don't mean that you guys can't be our first. So it was kind of like this whole series over 3 maps. It's been like a Mr. Krabs situation for PK. Now, right now, I think they're feeling comfortable that they got a 3-1 lead in map number 3. Mm-hmm. If they can lock this in, they're going over to a control and execution. They still got Tomb coming up in map 5. Like, they got some wiggle room to close this one out without feeling like the pressure was on their shoulders as it was in map number 2. But they have to pull this away. So that's how PK is currently feeling in his present moment. With the snipe in the hands of Solars, we'll see how he decides to take some of their joy away.
He's going to have to. Pittsburgh Knights lead is starting to grow. Rapidz being pressured on the opposite end. Nice shot though on a Raver. One more shot remaining that at least gets rid of the overextension.
Chaoz. Oh boy, Chaoz. He's looking at him.
Oh, he's got the Boltok too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big revive. No kills came through. They're going to wolf pack it now. This is where PK has to be careful not to lose any players in this moment. Now, PK shifts to a home hill setup, but Dezonide takes one. That was good for him. He'll be able to be comfortable in this spot, but also give his teammates some peace of mind.
Holding his ground. Good job. Says Monkyz, you will not show me up. I can also be the hero. And from one guy hiding in the shadows to another. First it was Dezo. Now it's Chaoz. Dezo took down 2. And it looks like Chaoz is looking to pick up the other 2. And he will do exactly that. Great job from Pittsburgh Knights. Fire and Ice. They've got a lot of work to do. And they just don't have the time to do it, Blaze. They're going to have to cover the map, get on all hills at the same time. And at this point, all we can do is watch Toxiq and Rapidz just pick each other up. It's all but over with. Pittsburgh Knights, they're going to have a 4-1 lead, and they're that much closer to taking a 2-1 lead in the series.
Yeah, PK, that was a good round for them. Even though it looked kind of, shaky at times, just from some big kills that we saw Fire and Ice come through. But ultimately, like PK, they had a 2-1 hill set up. They had great control over Stern most of that round. They won some big fights at Winch. They were able to just kind of lock it in and let Fire and Ice play into their hands, and that's where PK was the most comfortable. So we'll see if they can get first blood once again, and what they decide to do with it. With the nades coming down, a bow up top maybe?
Could be.
Fire and Ice, they're thinking about it. This would be a great opportunity to do so.
Okay.
All right, we're even Stevens on the map.
Stevens.
And so this is good for F&I, and I'm going to tell you why, okay? Ever since PK put that snipe down, and they've really been kind of controlling this, okay?
It's true.
They've been able to play around that center line portion of the map, also knowing that if their opponent stacks up top, they got a weapon to break them. But now with that twerk bow going up there, F&I, they got that wiggle room back. They don't have to overthink this one. I feel like when you have one power weapon on a map like that, the team with the most experience in a rep should come out on top. But when you have 2 like this in its Chaos, it kind of go back down to a base strat, and it just comes down to winning fights, getting power weapons, getting kills. It's going to feel like a rain game for F&I a bit here.
Great start for Fire and Ice. Honestly, almost a flawless start at this point. They're going to try and commit everything. Now, sometimes committing is the right play. I think this is the right play, 100%. But, it's going to be over with. That was a great shot. Good body. Flawless round from Fire and Ice. Absolutely flawless. Blaze, you hit it on the head. That torque bow placement, perfect.
Yeah, they don't have to come up with their best strategy to get that sniper off the start and then try to recover. Like, because if they don't have the teamwork to beat PK. Okay, Jax is subbing in. Xavi is their main fourth. They've gotten this far off of really just, playing some base level gears and having fun. Escalation is the hardest game mode to beat anyone on, especially if you don't have a full squad. So the map being quote unquote messy like this, you got multiple nades, multiple power weapons. This gives Fire and Ice multiple options to work with, and it doesn't really play in PK's hands too much.
Here we go. Let's see if F&I can stay alive a little bit longer. Sniper fight underway with Rapidz and Toxiq. Up top, though, Solar looking to pin his will onto Dezo. They have a bit of a stalemate. Solar makes the first play. He's going to end up dying. That's going to put Jax in a tough spot, and he's going to fall shortly after. Pittsburgh Knights looking to wrap this round up quickly. Dezo with a rare miss. 360 back onto Toxiq. Takes him down with the reset. And now Pittsburgh Knights, much like F&I last round, they're going to look to close this out in a way of domination and win 5-2. Solar will, in fact, lose his life there. That body shot, that's 4 out of the way, and that is going to be GG. 5-2 victory for Pittsburgh Knights, and they will lead in the series now 2-1, which puts us into map number 4, which is going to be Ritual Control.
Woo-wee! Ritual Control, it's a map in which has been picked by the boys of Fire and Ice, and it's one of our newest maps in a cycle, so I think that's good in this series just because we know that PK is going to be one of their maps where they have the least amount of reps on. So that's where you'll see Fire and Ice kind of get some balance. But as we come back on over here and wrap up map number 3, that last round, when that power weapon goes down center line, it pretty much forces multiple different 1v1 lanes. And from there, the play becomes a lot simpler because if you are able to, leave one of your 1v1 fights quickly, 2v1 somebody, get that advantage, and then you can go back 2v1 the other player. You got numbers, you trade out the rest of the kills, but it's easier to figure out a play in a moment when you're man on man like that. Just unfortunate for Fire and Ice, they didn't win those fights in that final round. It went in favor of PK, and even outside of those last 2 rounds when that torque bow went down, PK had absolute dominance when that sniper was down early on.
Yep.
And so this is the map in this series. I 100% expected PK to win this, and they won it in a fashion which I expected. And so now as we move on over to map number 4, Taylor, we just got to see what happens because we can't predict the series.
Can't predict it at all. I do want to say the thing that Pittsburgh Knights can truly, this play right here, which just shouldn't have happened. Solar, after he hit that shot, you got to push that. Disappointing, but go back on point with Ritual Control. Pittsburgh Knights have a huge advantage, and that's Chaoz. And Chaoz should be able to guide his troops, more specifically on Ritual, I think more so than that on District. District, it's not as punishing. It can be teamwork wise, but it's not as punishing in terms of distance. On Ritual, if your team dies, you might be spawning halfway across the map, and that's giving up a lot of time to the other team. And in this case, right, if Fire and Ice dies, they would be giving it up to Pittsburgh Knights. Chaoz is going to be big in the victory because he needs to be very vocal about when to rotate, when to give up a hill, when to push a hill, right? If there's like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, hey, maybe give it up because Ritual is a punishing map. Let's go ahead and go for new. So Dezo, in my opinion, or excuse me, not Dezo, Chaoz is going to be the biggest factor for Pittsburgh Knights going into Ritual. But make no mistake about it, though, for Fire and Ice, I'm going to favor them in the team fights. I'm going to favor them in their ability to be able to break kills because they're wolf packing in the way that they've been doing it all night tonight has truly been impressive. So I benefit them there. And again, that's why I go back to Chaoz. Pittsburgh Knights, get those rotations in, be crispy with the team fire in your angles. I think they're going to be able to outplay Fire and Ice and outsmart them. That's where they have the leg up.
All right, teamwork, PK. Throw smokes and get loose, Fire and Ice. All right, and
Yes,
I think that's a valid assessment. And we'll see how these team fights will play out. Because as you said, it's going to be about rotating early, taking the right fights. Because if you die and spawn across map, it's going to be hard for your squad to get back into that fight. There is a good amount of cover around Ritual. But for me, it's still like a flat map. And you can still see off the other end of it. You can still see there's very long sight lines on it. And so with that being said, your opponent can see that push coming from a mile away and set up their defense accordingly. So that's another big reason why kind of going into that second team fight will be harder than the first. So, as we head into Ritual, we'll see who can get off to this early lead. But I've been loving what I've seen out of Fire Nice in this series. For PK, this was one in which, as we were doing a pregame, and we just got to say it, as we were doing a pregame, we did it casually. Okay, yeah, PK got this one. Yeah, PK,
100%.
don't worry, they got it. You know, F&I, they got a sub. They ain't won all season. 3-0. Okay, that's how we were feeling.
And it was fair.
We ain't feeling like that right now, okay? So
not at all.
We're going to hold our opinions to ourselves, okay? And as we go into the second map, we're going to call it how we see it. And if F&I win this and we got to go over to Tomb to map 5, my God, talk about a gift of a series that we got blessed with at the end of the night.
It's already been a gift, in my opinion. It's already been a gift because our expectations were low. That's just the reality of it. You know, I thought it was going to be a quick 3-0. Chop, chop, boom, we're done. You know, lower than a 5-hour broadcast, which is very rare for a pro. Honestly, it's very rare for a Gears broadcast at this point because I swear to you, we're always getting game 5s now. We're always getting game 5s, around 11s, around 9s, or whatever. But that's a great thing. That's just how close the league really has been and how well everybody's been adjusting. But yeah, this series has been a pleasure. Chat. Are you feeling confident with your picks now? Whether you went for Pittsburgh Knights or Fire and Ice, really, how are you feeling? Let us know because it could go either which way. And if it goes to game 5, I think Pittsburgh Knights are going to be sweating more so than F&I because Blaze said it best at the beginning. F&I had nothing to lose coming into this. Okay, they haven't won a series yet. So this is the one. If they take it, could mean a big, or could make a big impact. But hey, I digress. It is what it is. Yeah, next map, Ritual. I made my assessment. You know, do you think, I mean, you thought that was fair. Is there anything else maybe that you think could make a big bit of a difference here, specifically, I guess, for Fire and Ice?
You know what? I think just the biggest difference that could be made for Fire and Ice, for me, is just really Jack's performance. You know, and I feel like he's been playing well. You know, we watched him in a first control map. He did good. He was a great anchor. You know, he had his Lancer out multiple times. He was supporting a team fight. He was just playing he was staying alive, playing his spot the best that he could while he let the other 3 vibe out. He did a great job. You know, that last round, he made some great decisions on when he approached the platform. Did he want to be aggressive, back up? He knew when to make the right call. So I think his performance has been good. And with that being said, F&I will just get better. As this team right here will just get better as they play more. So even though they're down 2-1 in the series, I don't think that we should expect them to get worse. I think that they may still come out in this King of the Hill and get off to an early start like we saw them in the first map. So it's not much else I can kind of talk about them because they're 0-7. You know, you don't need much to say with the 0-7 squad. But right now, they're giving us a lot to say.
Hey, a lot indeed. I'm telling you, I'm really, really appreciating what I'm seeing. So let's see here. VTalks in chat saying Chavi greater than Powers. All right, you guys can have a discussion about that in chat. Let's. Hey, look, I'm not going to judge anybody. All right, for their opinion. Love to see what you guys have to say about that, though. But hey, appreciate you, VTalks, for chatting out there. You love to see it. Hey, let's go ahead and
participation.
We love participation is key, all right? Like me and Blaze said earlier, we love having you here. We love being here. Chat, you make it worthwhile. You really do. Let's get into it. This is going to be a battle for sure. You know, we saw the best for Pittsburgh Knights, I believe, on checkouts. Obviously, we definitely saw the best from them on Harbor, as to be expected. But we need to see even more now because that last control definitely didn't go their way. This map is a bit more punishing, as I said. First team fight underway, though. And you remember the first team fight in District? F&I won that very convincingly. And this time, it's not only for the Hill, but also for the Torque Bow. So Pittsburgh Knights, let's see if they can win, but it's a bit scrappy just like before, and it's anybody's game, but I think Pittsburgh Knights will finally edge out F&I.
Yeah, they do. It was multiple downs there. They clean up house. They get the power weapon as well. So, PK, they strike first. Player 1 and 4, they're watching the respawn side of the map, making sure that, you know, nobody can get behind them. The rest of the team members are spread out trying to get angles. They know that they know that the mid map is open. No one has crossed it just yet, and their opponent's playing the edge. Okay. They know that their opponent's playing the edge, and they can just kind of really take their time, mark them, not stress this too much. Wow, great shot, Monkyz.
To be expected, right? Monkyz is cool, calm, and collected. No one's challenging him, so he has free reign to, you know, truly line this up. Now,
and what made it a great shot? What made it a great shot is just that, like, that player messed up his cover, and it was a small gap for him to be able to hit that. That's all.
Okay, so Jax, last alive here. He's going to be pushed back. This is definitely Looking a bit rough for Fire and Ice off the rip. That first team fight, whatever, you don't take much away from that. But I'm just looking at the pacing. It almost seems like Pittsburgh Knights are playing in slow motion, but that's not normally that's a negative connotation. But in this way, I think it's just they're easily reading what F&I is up to. Like I'm not seeing any wall balancing, nothing craziness. Just Pittsburgh Knights are in full control. That's what I'm getting at watching just the first two hills.
And when you are a full school, like when you've been a team for a long time and you slow down in pace, typically that's when newer teams that are formed or squads with subs, they can't keep up with you at the slower pace because they have to get on the same page on who they want to focus, who they want to shoot. And once flashes are thrown out, you got to have trust. You got to be on the same page and commit. And if you don't get that synergy, sometimes the play don't always work out.
All right, Monkyz now. Oh, he's going in, but Chaoz is actually getting the cleanups ahead of time. Monkyz will finally die. I think that's his first time. Chaoz still hasn't died yet, and he will not start now. Excellent job from him. And that's going to be Pittsburgh Knights extending their lead forward. Now some light at the end of the tunnel, though, as Solar will get the fresh torque bow. So maybe Fire and Ice can capitalize.
Maybe they can. Maybe they can. We're about to find out. As we head here towards P3, it's going to be F&I with the setup. Needs the bows. Neither. Oh, wow. Chaoz gets a double. I was going to say neither connected, but he shut me up real quick.
All right, pushing in. Pittsburgh Knights, though, on the hill itself. Oh, and Fire and Ice is backing up. They don't want to push this at all. Great. Whoa, not a good shot. Did the Pittsburgh Knights pick up a 5th team member? What's going on, Solar? You can't make plays like that, especially when you're going for the break. I don't think F&I is rattled, but they've got to focus up. This is not a map where you can make mistakes like that.
Yeah, it's not at all. But, PK, they know that they can close this out now. They almost have a 100-point lead. And if they get this series, that keeps the team in a pro league. And that's what they care most about right now. Double 2v2. Quick kills coming out here from the side of F&I. But they need to find one more, and they shall. There's 30 points remaining in this hill, folks. And I think PK should give this up. Play for next. They are still putting some pressure on this hill. And since everything's been going well for them so far, I don't blame them for coming in and contest. But you also got to know when to just kind of give this up and go play for the next one.
Exactly that. Wow. And that's something that I highlighted Pittsburgh Knights about, right? I knew they were going to be making the right decisions on when to rotate. For F&I, one thing that they've always struggled on consistently when it comes to control, and I've kind of said it and, tied it up to them being just a younger team who's still finding themselves out. They need a vocal IG. I don't know who, I still don't know who the IGL is for this roster. But, one of the things they've always struggled on is being confident about rotating when they need to rotate. Too often I see F&I pushing hills where they shouldn't be pushing because the time doesn't justify the push, or just overall making the wrong play. Chaoz just about pulled off a play that would have been disrespectful to F&I, but he doesn't. But either way, the scoreline getting out of control. Pittsburgh Knights not looking back.
With 49 in this hill, you got PK looking to get a good amount of time. If these nades can connect, they force the players out into the middle. They're not able to get a single player, but with that zoning of the nades and pushing them out into the open, that got them 2 kills, Taylor. But they need to find 2 more to start getting these points. So far, so good. They get it locked in. 30 points for them if they collect on this time. Now,
it'll be 200.
Now we can kind of talk about F&I and ask ourselves, well, what's going wrong with them? Why can't they get this one done? It just comes down to them being able to get a good fight as a team. Also, I'm seeing a lot of double kills happening for PK.
A lot.
Those double kills it takes a while to kind of recover from them. Having your opponent be up a man. But regardless, I'm just not seeing Fire and Ice being able to get set up early on any of these hills.
Not at all. Well, that's just because you mentioned it best. I hate to boil it down to just winning team fights or not even team fights, but those 1v2s are what's killing F&I. Like, seen Monkyz pull off a 1v2. Dezo's done it several times already. Chaoz has done it. Raver's been, had his time in the spotlight. When you are having so much trouble dealing with just one player, like prime example right here could be a 1v2, like Raver.
Right?
It's 100% the positioning. Like Pittsburgh Knights, they've got it. They do. And Fire and Ice is still struggling to even figure out what they need to do, in my opinion.
So, and for me, it was like, 1v2, like when you get a double kill and your team's already rotated for next, that just really sets them up for success, right? Like it just, it puts the entire squad in a good spot. But in the end, as we come back towards this hill, 37 seconds left. F&I finally getting some time. Chaoz presses through mid-map, but he's pinged, he's marked, he goes down, but he will not be killed.
Nope.
Beautiful bow. That's a nice nade, but Dezonide with 2. Can he get the third? Back rolls, did not dodge the stun. But can Monkyz get there in time? He won't be able to. The damage is on top on Solar. Yeah, the pistol gets it in. Great shots, but 15 seconds left. If Monkyz gets anybody, if he comes out with 2, this is the type of double kills we're talking about.
Well, I can't do it in that regard, but honestly, that's fair enough. Fire and Ice, good hill from them. Hey, it's better late than never.
Still
and
a
Pittsburgh Knights being
next.
225, this is the thing. Like 225 is a heavy lead, especially when F&I is at 90 points. But, get started now. And talk about 2 pieces. Jack's just about had it, but he falls short, unfortunately. But will the break happen early on? It's looking like F&I might be able to do so. The hill currently not in anybody's hands, but there it is. F&I's in it. And Pittsburgh Knights, as you said, Blaze, they were the first ones to be there. And F&I retook it for themselves. So that old district gameplay that made them successful before, starting to come through here in the later portions of Ritual.
Yeah, starting to come through indeed. Now PK, they're splitting off into a 2-2. We got some players there for the revives. Monkyz gets away. He lets his team know that he saw at least 2 or 3. Now it's gonna be Rapidz. He plays his spot a little bit passive, backs up the spawn, waits to help. That's good on his part. That's gonna let Fire Knights get majority of time on this hill. But look at Mono.
Oh, is he Mono? Is that what everybody's calling Mono? I genuinely didn't know that.
I kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Okay. I was like, okay.
I hope he's them. If not, I might be talking about what I got.
Well, I hope you don't, man. I've had it before. It's brutal, man.
I had it as a kid. I
had it as a kid too, and it never goes away.
Yeah.
We could talk about that all day, I guess. Now we got another topic to bring up between ourselves, but hey, Mono's brutal. But maybe is Monkyz Mono? Let us know. That's the big thing. Fire and Ice though, 129 to 240. Jack's trying to hold his ground. I think we're coming back to the start. The Pittsburgh Knights pushing F&I back to the brink. Rapidz, so good shots. Raver will fall. Chaoz now opposite of 1v2. Takes down 1, goes in for the second. And there it is. He has been doing that all night.
Yeah, that's the Chaoz we want. That's what I've been trying to get from him. I want more plays like that from him over the next 2 weeks. And if he plays with that type of speed and intensity, bro, he already got the smarts. He's been through it all. He's played on some of the toughest main stages ever. Okay, that Pierce main stage wasn't an easy one to be on, all right? But he played on that. And, this PK team, they got veteran players, but I want to see them look like the veteran squad we know they could be.
I think they're looking like the veteran squad, they need to be or they're known to be here on this map specifically, without question. And you know what? No, they had a hard time on the first 2 maps, let's be honest. They had a hard time. I'm about to say, I'm about to say they only struggled on map 1. No, they struggled on map 2 as well. They lost 5 rounds in a row. So no,
we gonna remember those first 2 maps.
I know I am, but it looks like this one's coming to a conclusion. I don't think Pittsburgh Knights can win off the hill that they're currently on. I know they can. They absolutely can. Fire and Ice are being pushed to the brink. No one can even get close enough to get a touch. Chaoz will pick up 1, can't get the second, and F&I actually will keep the game alive a little bit longer. For how long? Raver's looking to pull off a 2-piece, but the misroll will put him down.
Yeah, if he didn't get that misroll, that's a different fight. But 11 seconds left on old. Monkyz moves in. Is the bow coming up soon? Because it's not like him to move into this fight late, but he wants to take a 1v1. Actually, he wins that fight. I guess he can kind of rotate top side of the map, gets a spine. Yeah, the bow was coming up. Comes up in 1 second. Oh, it's not over yet?
It's not. It's really not. Okay, Monkyz slowly but surely coming through. Big Mono himself.
Oh, no,
Is
never
it?
mind.
It's a 1v1 on the hill. So, I mean, if Monkyz pushes this.
I mixed up my mini map. I thought PK won of the fight for the bow. That's where I was looking at. I got it flipped. Jack still got the bow fight, and the hill will be acquired for F9. But does he go down with this? Oh, that would have been bad.
Imagine F9 heats Pittsburgh Knights below 300. That would be a magnificent sight to see, without question. It's the first time they've been challenged on this hill, though. Monkyz is going to die off early on. Good stuff coming out from Jax. Good teamwork as a whole. And it looks like actually Fire and Ice is, in fact, going to hold on. I'm telling you, I'm going to lose my mind if Fire and Ice does this. Not only on this hill, but I'm talking about the entirety of this map. I mean, brother, they're looking good right now. They are looking good right now.
Double. How much time in this hill? 18 seconds. Player 7 has rotated to next, but he's behind multiple people. He got 2 behind him, 2 in front. He got pinged. Yeah, he let the team know that it ain't looking good for him. More fights being won by the Knights. They only need 6 seconds. And when it comes down to the other hill, it's only 4 seconds to rotate.
Pittsburgh Knights are there. Pittsburgh Knights are there. Now, Fire and Ice does have Solar and Rapidz, but they've got to sprint. I mean, they just have to sprint and not stop. And I'll be honest with you, it wasn't even enough. 300 to 205 is where this is going to end. That's map number 4, and that is the final map we will see between these two great teams. 3-1 victory coming out from Pittsburgh Knights and Chaoz. MVP without question. 25 kills, 13 assists, 18k damage done. Guys, I don't know how many 2 pieces he ended up getting that map alone, but I mean, he basically got all of them.
You know, and I got to give Chaoz a big round of congratulations for that performance. You know, I mentioned him a lot. I may be a little hard on Chaoz at times, but I only expect Chaoz to be great. That's it. I love Chaoz. I love Chaoz a lot. But I know Chaoz can be great, and Chaoz is not the type of player who wants somebody to give him a pat on the back. That's not him, okay? He wants people to say it how it is, and he'll go out there and perform. So good job to PK for being able to come out on top on this map. But man, was this a close series. And their series against the Pioneers is coming up tomorrow. Going to tell us a lot.
It is. It's going to tell us, you know, Pittsburgh Knights are how bad are they looking? I think that's the biggest thing. Because it's hard to gauge. It really is hard to gauge because Pittsburgh Knights haven't had the best season, or the best split, I should say, right? They really haven't. Fire and Ice obviously really haven't. They're now 0-8. But we've known Fire and Ice to put up wonderful fights against certain teams to the point where, you know, F&I looks incredibly strong, and I think they look great in this series too, but it's hard to gauge how good Pittsburgh Knights is really looking or how bad they're looking based off of this series alone, even though it doesn't go the way that we were expecting it to be. But Blaze said it best, that series tomorrow against Pioneers, that is going to be very telling to see where Pittsburgh Knights are really at, because they're going against, you know, what I regard again as the #1 NA team until they're defeated in a major. So at that point, you know, Pittsburgh Knights tomorrow is going to be more telling than tonight, I think.
I agree. And, you know, with them having such a hard time against F&I, if they bounce back convincingly against the Pioneers, I'm going to be okay. I'll let this whole series slide. I will. I'll let this whole series slide.
I think you have to. Yeah.
Yeah, like, even if they don't win against the Pioneers, they take them to map 5, I still let this whole series slide, all right? Just because it just shows, because I know Pioneers are going to be giving everything they got to, you know, finish off at the top of the league in the best way in which they can. So that's not going to be a slouch of a match. And yeah, you know, the Knights, they avoid relegation. Okay, I think they officially do it with this win.
I think they do. I think look, I'm not going to speak too soon because I have a tendency to shoot myself in the foot when I do. So I'm just going to say maybe they do. Maybe they do. Yeah. I think actually Hive and F&I are 100%. Going to be 100%. Well, I heard 1,000%, but you know, 100%, 1,000%, whatever it is, it's a guarantee. Hive, F&I are going to be the teams that are going to be relegated. And, you know, that makes sense. It does, because they just struggled this season. They struggled this phase to get a win. They just did all the way through. And the only win Hive, at least as of right now, has been able to get was against Fire and Ice. But, you know, 2 teams that were undefeated. Now, the coach is telling me that Hive is going to be on a tear, though, and they're doing a lot to improve. And I do believe in him. We'll see where Hive can stand, especially heading into the major. But as of right now, they are going to be relegated.
Yeah, they will. And, you know, hey, they can improve now going to the major. and it can improve next split as they try to qualify for the league again. All right,
and I think they could.
They could.
I think they could.
Honestly, they've like when it comes down to Lava and Sales, they have consistently qualified for the league. I want to say every time in which they've tried. So I have faith in them 100%. It just comes down to like the team as a whole. You know, that's it. It's just the team as a whole and what they gonna do.
Yeah, because I agree with that sentiment. Like Lava, Cells, like I love those guys. You know, they always perform well, I feel, and you always got to back them up given who they are, right? Cells is just a tremendous X factor in general. But let's take a look at our results from today. We had our main and side station very well underway, but this is going to be all of them that took place. Noble ended up getting that 3-1 victory over Elevate. Rise ended up beating Hive 3-1, which that wasn't one that we ended up seeing, but good on Hive for taking at least one map. That again, you know, Hive, a team that say they're improving. Let's see if they're going to improve come major time. E United, though, that was the biggest win, I think, of the night. The 3-0 victory over Rebel. That tells me E United is once again looking stronger than ever. Rebel still showing some inconsistencies and showing that they're struggling. So if you're a Latin American fan, specifically for Rebel, you want to see them improve. A great series between Pioneers and Oxygen, and then Pittsburgh Knights F&I. Love this series through and through. Blaze, let's take a look at our standings after today. I'll have you walk them through.
All right. As you guys see, Rise and Noble still at the top, but right below them, 3rd and 4th, that's going to be E United and a Pioneer sharing that position in A with 3 teams in the top 4 this season. And we couldn't say that a few splits ago. But as you move on down, Rebel, they've been sitting around this position 5, and I think Rebel's okay to really kind of stay here. But as far as them moving up, boy, you're going to need, I think I want to say it's Noble versus E United. That's going to be coming up tomorrow. And yes, it is. You're going to need Noble to really kind of give E United an L if Rebel wants to move up in that top 4. But hey, 5th plays 4th anyway, so it won't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But as far as the rest of our standings go, we're not going to see too much shifting, but we will see some exciting matches, and it will play a factor into seeding.
Yeah, and just to clarify for you guys, Rise does win the head-to-head against Noble. Pioneers wins the head-to-head against that of E United, and then Auction also wins the head-to-head too. So that's why, even though they have the same record, right, maybe the map win percentage is a bit lower or higher for the team that's higher. Obviously, the head-to-head does have to come into play. If you beat them, you beat them, right? So same record, you still got the win. That's only fair, and that's just the reality of it. And I think Rise, regardless of their matchup tomorrow, still stay in first based on record?
Based on a record, yeah, because
I don't think anybody can pass them.
Yeah, nah, Pioneer's got to play PK, and Noble with E United. Even if Noble beats, check this out, even if Noble, I was going to say they beat E United, that's really it. Noble will have to beat E United, and Rise will have to lose to Rebel.
Or any craziness to happen.
That's just those two. Yeah, those two.
Okay.
Noble lose to E United, Rise lose to Rebel, Noble gets first.
Well, we'll see. That would be a big win for Noble without question. You know, they love their pro league, and normally they love their E days, but I haven't been seeing a lot from them, sadly, when it comes to E days. Speaking of E days, I actually can't break it down. That I have to wait till tomorrow because I don't know all the situations, but I do know there's. Okay, so Voice of God is on point.
What did he say? What did he say? Break it down.
He said Rise already locked in that 8th seed, okay? So that was the big thing. We were kind of trying to figure out who was going, because we knew the 7 teams that were going to be in the E-Day finals taking place on Thursday. We just didn't know the 8th one. There was kind of a contention between, I believe it was Hive, Elevate, and Rise, but Hive, Rise, but either way, Rise ends up locking it in place. So great job. So there it is. So there's your top 8 teams. More on that later, but it was a great night, Blaze. It truly was. I love casting with you, brother. It's been too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long, and we'll get some more reps in before the week is over. You know, tomorrow's going to be me and Jacob. I'll see you again on Thursday, Taylor, for E-Days. And so it has been fun for us to cast. I hope the chat enjoyed themselves. I know I have fun. You have fun. We had some great games, and you know, I'm ready to go hydrate and get some rest.
Hey, before you do, let's at least get you warmed up with what's going to be taking place tomorrow. You've been talking about a lot of matches, but let's officially look at the schedule. So chat, can be caught up with what's taking place tomorrow. Final day of Pro League, guys, for Split 1. You love to see it. Rebel will be facing off against Rise. It's going to be a big battle. Rebel's been struggling. Rise, though, they've been taking some L's, but they're still looking like the best team currently in Pro League. Pioneers will play against Pittsburgh Knights. We talked about how that's going to be a bigger matchup for PK as opposed to tonight. That's going to be very telling. Fire and Ice then will play against Oxygen. That's going to be a good one. Oxygen being the bracket buster dark horse team as of right now, but Fire and Ice looking as credible as they did, that could very well be their first win. Then EU United will play against Noble.
They play with Jax down a lot.
I don't think they have a chance to do that. I think subs can only sub in twice during a Pro League, if I'm not mistaken. So, or 3 times. So it could be Jax. I think it could be Jax. We'll see. We'll see. I would like to see Chavi there still, but hey, regardless, Jax is incredible. That's your tomorrow schedule. It's going to be looking good. Blaze, he's going to be casting with Jacob, and you know the analysis is going to be on point. But we're about to get out of here, brother. I know, Blaze, you got to go hydrate, so I'm going to go ahead and close us out. For myself, Taylor Reflections, Noble Guy, Blaze, our production team, and you in chat, thank you so much for being here. Please come back tomorrow right here on the Xbox channel. We would love to have you again for the final day of Pro League for Split 1, 5 Eastern time. It's going to be a great time. You all have a phenomenal night.